Hello everyone. This video is part of a series where we are implementing a microservices-based social media application. We are using NodeJS for our back-end services and React for our front end. Our main goal here is to learn the microservices pattern, as well as some of the challenges that come with it and some possible solutions. So here is an overview of the current tasks we are working on, as well as some plan for the near future. There is of course much more yet to come, but here at least you have a general structure. In this second diagram, I break down these main areas into more detailed tasks, so if you want to pause the video and inspect by yourself, feel free to do so. We also use a Jira Board where we track the progress of our tasks, so you may see me coming here once in a while to update our tasks. In the previous video, we have started with the implementation of our account verification class or mongoose model so that we can save the email verification token in the database. We have implemented our first test and now we will move on with the second test. So remember that I mentioned that we would like to prevent saving information if the token is not valid, right? So it should not save a new account verification document if the token is invalid. And an invalid token here would be pretty much anything that does not have a length of 64 characters. Okay, we cannot really say. I mean, we could try to add some additional checks over being encoded with hexadecimal, but I mean, it doesn't add a lot of value, right? Because we are by definition creating the toString or calling the toString method here in the account verification file. Let me find it here. It's here. So we are calling the toString with a hexadecimal encoding, which means that this will be encoded as hexadecimal. It's none of our business to test this functionality here. So we will assume that any token that does not have a length of 64 is not a valid token, right? So here, let's say some invalid token, we could consider such a string like not valid, for example. This is an invalid token, for example, for our purposes here. So if I want to test the token being invalid, I want to have, or I need to have, a valid user, right? So the new user here, we will await user.create, and we will pass some email that is going to be test@test.com and a password of valid 123. I need to import the user from the user, or here it could even be from the index file. I think that there will be no problems with imports. So now I have my user here, and what I would like to do is I would await the not exec. Oh, what's happening? I would await the expect here for this account verification.create with my user ID of the new user underscore ID and a email verification token of not valid, like so. And I would expect this whole thing here to reject and to throw an error that is going to say invalid account verification token. Same principle behind this error here. We don't really need to have a lot of information about, or we don't want to transmit a lot of information to the external user. All we are doing here is throwing an error for internal purposes. What the user is going to see is going to be a general 500 return status code. So we don't need to send this specific information that the token was invalid, right? Because of course the user does not play any role in creating the token. This is an internal process, but still it can fail for whatever reason. So we want to make sure that we throw an error, but we don't give the detailed information to the user, just a generic response. Okay, I will save this and I will run my tests, and of course this is going to fail because we have no validation whatsoever in our email verification token. So this is not going to be rejected. Exactly. So we have the failed here. So the test failed because the account verification.create was successful. But now we need to make this fail. How do we make this fail? Well, we can come back here to our definition of our schema, and we can actually do something that's very nice. We can create a custom validate, or we can pass a validate method here to our function, and this is going to, not to our function but to our object, this is going to receive the value, right? So the value that we are going to, oops, that should be outside. The value that we are going to receive for the field, and the value is going to be a string, and then this returns a boolean, like so. Now if no value or value.length is different than 64, right? The problem here is that if I pass a null here, then the length is not going to be defined, right? So I would have an error for another reason. But if I have no value or the value.length is different than 64, then I want to throw a new error, which is going to say invalid account verification token. Or maybe it could even be email verification token, just to be consistent here. So let me copy and paste this in my tests here so that I make sure I have no typos. And if this if statement is not true, meaning that there is a value and the value is and the length of the value is equal to 64, then I will just return true. And then the validate function is going to be executed every time that I want to execute some changes in my schema, right? So every time I want to execute something that involves email verification token, then we will validate the value that is incoming. In our case here, this is only for the purposes of creating the email verification token or the account verification document, because once we create this, then we will delete this instance when the user verifies his or her email. So we don't need the email verification token anymore. We don't need the account verification token document once the email has been verified. So we'll just reach out to this collection here and we will delete the document of the user when the user verifies the email. Now, so here we don't really need to worry about doing a lot of update operations, and this validate field is going to be just enough for us. And as you can see now, all our tests all our tests are passing correctly. Great. So I believe that this summarizes the two tests that I mentioned in the previous video that I would like to implement. And there is still a missing test, which we will implement in the next video, that is to generate a new email verification token if the provided email verification token already exists. Okay? So if you want to receive updates about future videos that are uploaded to my channel, then make sure to subscribe. And every time I upload a new video, you will get a small notification. Now, I try to upload videos every day, at least 2 videos per day. And I have a lot of ideas in my mind. But if you are also interested in other topics related to programming, or if you have a specific issue that you would like me to discuss, then make sure to write down in the comments. Maybe I can think of a series or a small playlist, maybe a more extensive course on the topic, or even a standalone video that could address whatever development related topic you write in the comments. So make sure to give your suggestion, and I'll see you in the next video. Thank you for your time. Bye bye.